Are you kidding me right now? Did WWE just completely disrespect the legacy of the Shield by having Roman Reigns waltz back onto SmackDown with some knockoff version featuring Jacob Fatu? I'm sorry, but this is absolutely insane, and I cannot believe what I just witnessed on Friday Night SmackDown. Listen, I've been covering WWE for years, and I've seen some questionable creative decisions, but this? This has me fired up like you wouldn't believe. The audacity of calling this Shield 2.0 when it's missing the two people who made the Shield what it was is beyond comprehension. And before you even type in the comments that I'm overreacting, let me tell you why this decision has me absolutely livid and why it should have every single wrestling fan questioning WWE's creative direction right now. The Shield wasn't just some random faction that WWE can just slap together with different people. Dean Ambrose, Seth Rollins, and Roman Reigns created something special. They revolutionized tag team wrestling, they redefined what it meant to be a dominant force in WWE, and they gave us some of the most memorable moments in modern wrestling history. But apparently, none of that matters to WWE creative because they think they can just throw Roman together with Jacob Fatu and call it Shield 2.0 like we're supposed to forget everything that came before. This is the same company that treats their own history like it's disposable, and now they're doing it with one of the most beloved factions of the past decade. Jacob Fatu is incredibly talented, don't get me wrong. The man is an absolute beast in the ring, and his work in MLW was phenomenal. But putting him in Shield gear and expecting us to buy into this as some kind of spiritual successor to the Shield? That's not just lazy booking, that's insulting to the fans who invested emotionally in what the Shield represented. And Roman Reigns should know better. He was there when the Shield was tearing through the WWE roster. He knows what made that group special, and it wasn't just the tactical vests and the entrance through the crowd. But here's what makes this even more infuriating, the timing of this whole thing is absolutely terrible. Seth Rollins has been building something incredible with his own faction, creating compelling television week after week, and instead of letting that story breathe and develop naturally, WWE decides to throw this Shield 2.0 nonsense into the mix. Seth has been putting in the work to establish himself as a leader, to prove that he can carry a faction and create something meaningful. His chemistry with his allies has been developing organically, and the storylines have been building real emotional investment from the audience. But now WWE is essentially saying, hey, remember when Seth was part of something successful? Well, here's Roman doing the same thing but with different people, and you should care about this more. It's like they're actively trying to undermine their own storytelling. And don't even get me started on how this affects the rest of the SmackDown roster. Wrestlers who have been working their tails off to build meaningful storylines are now going to be overshadowed by this manufactured nostalgia play that nobody asked for. Let's talk about what actually happened on SmackDown, because the confrontation between Roman's Shield 2.0 and Seth's faction was a masterclass in how not to book a meaningful encounter between former allies. Roman and Jacob Fatu came through the crowd, because of course they did, they have to hit all the Shield nostalgia beats, and immediately confronted Seth and his group. But instead of giving us real emotion, real history, real reasons for this conflict, we got generic trash talk and posturing that could have been between any two factions. Where was the personal history? Where were the references to their shared past? Where was the acknowledgement of what the Shield meant to both Roman and Seth? Instead, we got cookie-cutter dialogue that felt like it was written by someone who had never watched a single Shield match. Seth's reaction was equally disappointing. This is the man who helped create the Shield legacy, who knows Roman better than almost anyone in WWE, and his response to seeing his former brother-in-arms bastardizing their shared history was just standard heel promo material. The whole segment felt like WWE was going through the motions, hitting the required beats for a shocking return, without understanding why those beats should matter to the audience. And can we talk about how dirty WWE is doing Jacob Fatu with this booking? This man is one of the most talented performers on the entire roster, with a legitimate claim to being the best big man wrestler in the world right now. His work speaks for itself, he doesn't need to be propped up by nostalgia for a faction he was never part of. Jacob Fatu should be establishing his own legacy, creating his own identity, building his own reputation with the WWE universe. Instead, he's being positioned as a replacement part in a machine that doesn't even exist anymore. It's like WWE looked at his incredible talent and said, "You know what would make this better? If we made him pretend to be someone else." The man held the MLW World Heavyweight Championship for over 800 days. He was the face of an entire promotion. He's earned the right to be Jacob Fatu, not the new Dean Ambrose, or Shield member number 3, or whatever they're trying to make him. This booking decision takes everything that makes Jacob Fatu special and waters it down to fit into a nostalgic framework that doesn't serve his character development at all. It's creative bankruptcy at its finest. But here's the thing that really gets me fired up about this whole situation: it's symptomatic of a much bigger problem with WWE's creative approach right now. They've become so obsessed with recreating past successes that they've forgotten how to create new ones. The Shield was lightning in a bottle because it was organic, because it was 3 hungry wrestlers who worked together to create something special. You can't just manufacture that chemistry by putting people in similar gear and hoping for the best. WWE has one of the most talented rosters in the history of professional wrestling, and instead of letting these incredible performers create new, innovative storylines, they're constantly trying to force them into the molds of what worked before. It's lazy, it's uninspired, and it's insulting to both the wrestlers and the fans. Roman Reigns doesn't need to be part of Shield 2.0, he's already proven he can be a compelling character on his own. Jacob Fatu doesn't need to be the new anybody, he's already established himself as a unique talent. Seth Rollins doesn't need to be feuding with a knockoff version of his old group, he's capable of creating entirely new and exciting storylines. But instead of trusting in their talent and their creativity, WWE keeps going back to the same well over and over again, diluting what made these concepts special in the first place. And ultimately, this comes down to respect for the audience. WWE fans aren't stupid, we know when we're being sold a cheap imitation of something we loved. We can tell the difference between genuine emotional storytelling and manufactured nostalgia designed to pop a quick rating. The original Shield meant something to wrestling fans because it represented 3 wrestlers who came together and created something bigger than the sum of their parts. It was about brotherhood, about shared struggle, about fighting against the establishment together. Those themes resonated because they felt real. But Shield 2.0 doesn't represent any of those things. It's a marketing decision disguised as a creative choice, and it's insulting to assume that fans won't notice the difference. We invest emotionally in these characters and these storylines because we believe in what they represent. When WWE treats that investment casually, when they think they can just swap out parts and expect the same emotional response, they're fundamentally misunderstanding what makes professional wrestling compelling. The fans who chanted, "This is awesome," during Shield matches weren't just responding to the tactical vests and the entrance music, they were responding to the genuine chemistry and the compelling storytelling that made those 3 wrestlers special together. So where does WWE go from here? How do they fix this mess they've created? Well, first of all, they need to acknowledge that Jacob Fatu is his own man with his own talents and his own story to tell. Stop trying to make him fit into someone else's mold and let him be the incredible performer he already is. Second, they need to give Seth Rollins the respect he deserves as a main event talent who doesn't need to be defined by his past affiliations. Let him build his faction organically and create new storylines that showcase his leadership abilities. And Roman Reigns? He needs to explain why he's doing this. What's his motivation for creating this new group? What does he hope to accomplish that he couldn't accomplish on his own? Give us a reason to care about this beyond just remember when the Shield was cool. Most importantly, WWE needs to start trusting their talent to create new and innovative storylines instead of constantly recycling past successes. The wrestling landscape is constantly evolving, and the stories need to evolve with it. Look, I know some of you in the comments are going to defend this decision, and that's fine, everyone's entitled to their opinion. But as someone who's been watching wrestling for decades, I can tell you that this kind of creative laziness is exactly what kills long-term storytelling and character development. WWE has the talent, they have the resources, and they have the platform to create something truly special. Instead, they're choosing to play it safe with nostalgia plays that diminish what made the original concept special in the first place. The Shield was incredible because it was 3 specific wrestlers with specific chemistry at a specific time in their careers. You can't just recreate that by putting different people in similar situations and hoping for the same magic. Jacob Fatu deserves better than being a replacement part. Seth Rollins deserves better than having his current work overshadowed by manufactured nostalgia. And the fans deserve better than being sold a cheap imitation of something they genuinely loved. This Shield 2.0 experiment is a mistake, and the sooner WWE realizes that and course corrects, the better it will be for everyone involved. Until then, we're stuck with this pale imitation of greatness masquerading as innovation. What do you think? Am I overreacting, or is WWE completely dropping the ball with this Shield 2.0 nonsense? Let me know in the comments below, and don't hold back, because this topic has me fired up and I want to hear all your thoughts. If you're as frustrated with WWE's creative direction as I am, smash that like button and share this video with other wrestling fans who deserve better than recycled storylines. And make sure you're subscribed to Wrestling News CC because we're not afraid to call out bad booking when we see it. This has been Wrestling News CC, and until WWE starts respecting their own history and their incredible talent, we'll keep fighting for the wrestling content that fans actually deserve. If you thought tonight's story was wild, trust me. What happens next will blow your mind. So don't stop now. Click on the video right here on your screen to continue the chaos, the drama, and the inside scoop only we deliver. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, give this video a like, and join the Wrestling News CC family, where the real stories of WWE come to life. See you in the next one.